Hi, my edgy entrepreneurs. You are sure to enjoy this episode of The Edgy Entrepreneur. I'm Jenn Colmenares, your host. Welcome to our new broadcast. This is number 2. So today's guest I am going to introduce you to is Carl Colmenares. Yes, you heard that right, Carl. We are related. Meet my dad, an original TR firewalker. This man has taught me a whole lot about life, including that sales is an art form and building relationships is the foundation. As a 5-time President's Club qualifier, he has worked for regional sales companies and Fortune 500 companies, and knows that you have to be smart to hit those goals and to reach those goals. So, Dad, Carl, that is where I wanted to begin today as we dig into what is the anatomy of a goal.
A goal is, first of all, good morning, everybody. When you're in sales or when you're starting a business or you're building a business, you need to know where you want to go. And a goal is like a road map. If you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going.
Very true.
If you don't have a goal, you're not going to know when you get there.
Very true.
So the goal is the first thing, and right on the goal, right behind it, maybe even right in front of it, is knowing why. Excuse me. I'm new at this.
And it's really good to take notes and put up sticky notes to turn off.
Turn off your phone.
That's awesome. I'm glad that was you and not me. So tell us just a little bit about you. So growing up, what I remember is you leaving. I mean, you headed out on a plane on Mondays, and we would pick you up Thursday or Friday to come back in. I just knew that you were out really doing important things, that you had a lot of people, a lot of really high profile clients, and I thought you had a really cool job because you got to travel and I got presents.
People who don't travel always think traveling is cool.
Yes.
But it gets tiring after a while. And I did, my client base was primarily Fortune 500 companies. So I did travel a lot. As a regional sales manager, I covered 10 states. I had customers all the way from California to Chicago. They were everywhere. So I did leave. I'd leave Monday morning, catch a plane. I always had to make a Monday morning managers meeting in Atlanta. So I would fly from Houston to Atlanta. And then from Atlanta, there was no telling where I was going to go after that.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
But I did have a plan.
Yes. Yes. So, and having a plan was key. So how did you even get into sales? I know I hear stories about my mom meeting. So sweet. But it was sales. It was sales. It was wallpaper way back when.
Yeah, I started, my first real job was working for a wall covering distributorship, and a construction company, one of our suppliers approached me and said, "Hey, I think you'd be good at sales." And the next thing you knew, I had gotten permission. It was an agreeable move. I went to work for a distributor.
But was that had that been your plan all along? I mean, even high
No,
school, like, okay, I'm going to graduate high school and I'm going to hit the road and go to sales.
no,
Nobody.
no. I always thought I'd be in an office. It's interesting. My dad was an entrepreneur, and I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to have a job. I wanted a job.
So that's an interesting, I guess, line in the sand there, that you wanted a job and not the freedom to be an entrepreneur. What was the distinction there? Did you think having a job was security and going to promise you that lifestyle? And what did you see about the entrepreneurship?
That's exactly what I thought. I thought a job was security, because as an entrepreneur, I could always tell how my dad's business was going by the way we ate. It wasn't always consistent. So I wanted consistency. I think that was the point. And that's why I went to work for a large construction firm. When I went into sales, it turns out that the guy that hired me was right. I was very good at it, even though I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I thought selling was just going out, talking to people, having a good line of BS, getting them to sign an order and make money. And for a while, I discovered that wasn't the entirety of it. Once I learned the process, that there was a process, then things really began to change for me.
And that was still in construction?
My first sales job was with the wall covering business.
The wall covering.
Yeah.
Y'all, I have this wall covering inside a piece of furniture that he has refinished, and it's like thick and malleable.
Vinyl.
Yeah, it's thick, and it smells like bourbon still. I don't know why. So, yes, from there, and I like what you said, that I think a lot of people think sales and they think salesy, used car salesmen, dealerships, things like that. And it can be people that are just getting into the industry that don't understand that it's an art form. It's a language that you really speak. It's a dance that you learn to do with people in general. It's not like you ever turn it off.
No, you don't turn it off. It becomes part of who you are after a while. And when where I got most of my training actually was when I went to work for Xerox. I had a mentor, a very, very good friend of mine, Jenn's godfather, who arranged for me to interview with Xerox, and I got the job. And Xerox probably had the most extensive sales and management training program of any other corporation in the country at the time.
And what did that look like at the time? And we're talking back year. Set the stage
Yeah,
for us.
We're talking 1978.
Okay.
And it was in Leesburg, Virginia, XIC MTD, Xerox International Center for Management Training and Development. It was an opportunity unlike anything else, and you were segregated or sequestered into a classroom environment and just drilled for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 2 or 3 weeks.
Now, are they dumping into you? What are they dumping into you? I mean, so you're gone. Here you are in this training facility with all these other people. You're living, eating, breathing, sleeping this material. Is
exactly.
it interactive? I mean, I think
It was.
where I get interested is too the science back in the 70s versus where we are now with the technology and knowing so much more about our brain.
Yeah, it was very interactive. What they would do is that they'd feed you the theory, and then they'd put you in a room where you were with a trainer in front of a camera and being videoed and live in front of the rest of the class, and they would go put you in the scenario that you just went over in theory,
Man, they were kicking you right into action.
right into action. And some people don't do well in front of a camera. And
It's another art form.
some people don't do well when they're asked to do something that you just heard. Um, so it was good. It was excellent training at the time, excellent training. And Xerox developed a sales training program. It was called Need Satisfaction Selling. They published books on it, and basically it was discover a need, learn how to satisfy it, ask for the order.
And that's, I mean, I remember that growing up.
And it
Find a
hasn't
need, fill a
changed.
need. Yes, it doesn't at all. It doesn't change.
It hasn't changed. It goes by different names now: empathy selling, need satisfaction selling, um, but it's all based on what does the client need. The client will tell you what he needs. You just have to know how to get that information out, and then figure out how you can make him happy, satisfy the need. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
It does. And that is definitely where the art form comes in to selling, but even more so is how, as a salesperson, how do you generate that want to and that drive? Because you're constantly getting up in the morning and facing a day that is unknown. I mean, it's like a roller coaster ride for me, and ticking, tick, 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 tick up.
Well, the goal is to wake up in the morning knowing what the day is going to be. There'll be things that happen during the day that change your plan. We're getting into goal setting now. Why you need a goal, because even though you know that things are going to be different, you still need to have an idea and a plan for the day. But you need to be flexible. This is where the knowledge of selling comes in. If you practice the craft, then when things change, you'll be able to change with it. It's like a surgeon that is going in to remove a gallbladder and something goes wrong. He's got to be able to adjust and change. So that's the day in the life of a salesperson. You start out knowing what you want to accomplish, hopefully,
Right.
but to get to the end of the day, it's going to be different. That's why if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have that roadmap, when you get off course, it's very difficult to find your way back.
And definitely something that I want to dive into is how do we set that roadmap? How do we create that roadmap? Where does our 5-year vision come from? Where does our 10-year vision come from? And then how do we work backwards with that to really break it down so that it's measurable and we aren't waking up in overwhelm?
Well, it starts with the why, because that's the base. And I heard y'all talking about that last week on air.
We did, and I will pick that up when we come back. So we are going to take a quick commercial break. You are listening to Edge Radio Network. I am the Edgy Entrepreneur. This is the Edgy Entrepreneur Show. I am Jenn Colmenares, your host. We'll be back in just a few with more information and a deeper dive into the anatomy of a goal. We'll be back in a minute.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing findhealthbenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
And welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back, and this is the Edge Radio Network. I'm your host, Jennifer Colmenares, and you are tuned into the Edgy Entrepreneur with today's special guest, Carl Colmenares. Yes, you heard that correct, Colmenares. We are related. We are back. So, Dad, Carl, before the break, we were talking about the anatomy of a goal. And you got into your why, that you have to have, that's your foundation of, you have to know that. So talk a little bit about your why. How do you find your why? What is your why? And why do you need a why?
Well, first of all, you need a why to become committed to what you're doing. And you find your why by just saying, as an example, I want to sell cars because. You need to be able to answer the because. And I'll give you another clue. If it's because I want to make a lot of money, you're going to have a hard time in the long run. Your why has to be something that's almost eternal. It's something that you want to accomplish with your life that transcends what you're selling or to whom you're selling.
So what does that look like for you?
For me, it's always been finding how I can help the person that I'm delivering my product to. I've spent most of my life in the tech industry, computers, etc. So I was always solving an issue, a problem. Well, I had to discover the problem, discover the issue, discover what the client wanted to solve, and then present him with a way to solve that problem and give him what he wanted.
It sounds like such a simple formula.
The formula is simple. The formula is simple. The execution is difficult. People get wrapped up in themselves and they forget why they're there. You should be there to help your client. It's all about the client. It's not about you. If it becomes about you, then it's going to be a long sales process.
Well, and even going back on that note, when you're discovering your why. So here we are. It's January. It's goal setting season, for lack of better word. January 1st. I mean, there are people that have already fallen off the wagon. I will let you know I'm one of those. Like, my gym time has not been as good as what I wanted it to be in my head, but I have grace. So what, January 1st, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Why is January 1st? I mean, I guess I'm asking, why do we feel like we have to wait for that why to figure out? I mean,
you read my mind.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's something there. Like, we can all, like, you know, I want to do this to make a lot of money. You made that. Mine is, I have a bigger purpose. My girls and my family fuel my passion, and making a difference in people's lives. That's really what fuels my passion, is seeing somebody's spark that we're talking about, seeing that ignited, being able to take the flame that I have and share a little bit of that to fan that flame. But it's really hard, I find, for people to dig down into that why.
Well, the desire to share that spark is one of the things that will set you aside from all the other salespeople that your prospect is going to be talking to. And why January the 1st? That's a great question. If you understand your why, January 1st it becomes in your mind kind of like Monday. My week starts on Monday. Why? Why doesn't it start Sunday evening? Or why doesn't it start on Wednesday? Or why doesn't it start on Friday? You can't, or you should not, I don't believe, start every week over from scratch.
Oh, that's so painful.
That's true. You should be working every day. Now, what am I saying? Is that you become a slave to your job, and that you never go to the park or go swimming or go fishing or play golf? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that you don't start over from scratch every Monday. So that's important.
And I think that's the difference also between having that entrepreneurial spirit and punching a time clock and having a job.
Well, being a salesperson is being an entrepreneur.
Yes. Very much so.
It's like owning your own business without the initial investment, but you have to have the same drive. You have to have the same desires. You have to have the same self-discipline. Without the desire and the self-discipline and the ability to plan, you're going to have a hard time being a successful salesperson. It's not just a gift of gab. So it's a profession, just like any other profession. You need to learn what being a salesperson is. Now, we're going to be here for about another 45 minutes, and you will probably not hear I hope you hear 3 original ideas. But I've been selling for 50 years, and the basics really haven't changed that much. The products have changed. COVID has changed the market tremendously. Computers have changed the market. Our prospects today are so much more informed than they were 10 years ago, even 5 years ago.
Well, and it's even on that note, we were talking about a number. Like, you're like, yes, I have a telephone number. And yeah, can I text that number? So
Yeah.
You're right. It is. It's constantly evolving.
Well, I can remember when to make your business presence known, you would go get the best Yellow Page ad you could get. When was the last time many of us looked something up in the Yellow Pages?
Well, there's a YP app.
Exactly.
Or Yelp. I mean, now it's all Google.
Google, Yelp, any number of places where your prospect can look up the product that you're selling and find the best price. And that's why you don't sell price. If you're selling price, it's gonna be an uphill battle.
Ooh, I love that.
And the reason it's an uphill battle is that because you haven't identified your clients, your prospects' needs. A lot of salespeople are just going to come in with a lowball price. It's like this cell phone. What makes this cell phone valuable? There are a lot of people out there with cell phones. What makes this cell phone valuable to me is what's in it. This cell phone is irreplaceable almost to me. When Apple started selling the cell phone, they didn't come in and say, hey, we're going to give you a device that will store all your phone numbers and that you can call anyone you need from anywhere you want. That's not that's not what they did. They came in with, we're going to change the way you live your life.
And man,
that
has
was their
it.
why. that was their why. So I get off on tangents, but getting back to the goal, it was Apple's goal was to provide a service and a product that could change your life, not one that would make it easier for you to make phone calls.
Yes.
The pager could have done that.
Yes.
So you need to understand your why. Your goal needs to be specific. A lot of people will say, well, what's your goal? Well, I want to make $40,000 a year. That's not a goal. That's a result.
Ah, that is so true. I'm glad that you said that specifically because it is true. I mean, so many people, and even just in the social media crowd, you see, I want this, I want this, I want this. I didn't think of it. You're right. That is the result.
That's just the result of accomplishing your goal. They need to be specific. Your goal needs to be measurable. So you need to be able to look at that goal, whether it's a 20-year goal or a 20-day goal.
So
and say, where am I in the process of achieving that?
So how far out do you set goals for?
Well,
or does it depend on that specific goal? So say here I am in sales. I have X number of dollars is my result that I want. So how do I figure out how to get that result?
Well, I'm a believer in long-term goals. A 20-year goal. I want to be able to sit on a yacht enjoy a drink, enjoy the sun, catch fish. My wife and I are happy. My kids are grown, educated, and everybody's healthy. That's my 20-year goal. Now, you didn't hear money anywhere in there, did you?
Very true. Yeah, you're right.
So
it's just a tool.
The reason that the 20-year goal is feasible is because what you do today is going to affect 20 years from now. And like I said earlier, it's a roadmap, and you'll get off the path, but eventually you'll get to your destination if you know where you're going.
So you know where you're going. We have a 20-year plan, which, yeah, my 20-year plan is almost up. The girls are almost off of college. So it's interesting that you say that, because that has been definitely, that's been a goal, is, you know, get the kids grown and get them, I don't want to say off, but into successful young women that, you know, have morals and values and out of the house and living on their own. So now here I am. Okay, that was a huge goal. Now that's good. So I have business goals that I guess my question is, so now I've had this goal and I've been driven on this, and now how that is achieving, how do I kind of balance? Like, how do I set checks and balances up for myself so that even though I'm achieving those goals, I'm still constantly pushing myself and I'm setting new goals? And what does that look like?
Well, again, it gets back to the why. I guess I can use myself as an example. Years ago, my wife started a business. And I came into the business because we wanted to provide the best service available in that industry, which it was a boarding kennel. Doesn't sound very glamorous, but that was my goal. I wanted to be the best boarding kennel in Texas. Now, everything sprang from that. And then I started another business, an HR consulting business, where I wanted to be able to allow businesses to dissolve themselves of the daily routine of doing payroll, paying for insurance, handling unemployment claims, handling healthcare claims, et cetera, et cetera. So goals change, but or the method changes. The goals haven't changed.
And we will pick that up on our way back from this quick break. You are listening to Edge Radio Network. This is the Edgy Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Jenn Colmenares. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we will dive further into the anatomy of a goal.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and you know, sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information.
And you know, my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. You know, I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay.
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
And we're back. This is Edge Radio Network. I'm your host, Jenn Colmenares, and you are tuned in to The Edgy Entrepreneur with today's special guest, Carl Colmenares. Yes, you heard that right, Colmenares. We are related. And Carl, before we went to break, we were talking about the anatomy of a goal and really breaking down what that looks like. So let's dive into that a little bit more.
Okay, well, a goal needs to be specific. I diverged a little bit there by saying, a goal is not, I want to make $50,000 this year or this month or whatever. That's not a goal. That's the result of a goal. So you need to set a specific goal. It needs to be measurable, so that you can tell where you are in the process of achieving that goal.
Right.
And it needs to be trackable now, which is a little different than measurable. Trackable involves other people. Where are you going to get the assistance and the help to do the things that you want to do in reaching your goal?
Oh, I like that. So in my goal setting this year, I think I've been through like 3 different PDFs, goal setting formulas this year, because they are bigger and they're different, and there's a lot of little moving pieces. So how do you, and SMART, I guess, is where you're going with that goal, the SMART goal. So you want it to be measurable, sustainable, all of this. So
Correct.
Okay, so you have a goal, you want to make, say, $40,000 for the year. How do you want to get out of bed in the morning? Like, how do you break it down that small that you're showing up?
At that level, you realize that what you do today affects your future. And if you believe that you can sleep until 9, leave the office at 4, take a 2-hour lunch, and still achieve a goal, you're only fooling yourself. It takes a personal commitment to achieve a goal. That's why it has to be measurable, because if you can't measure where you are in your achievement or in your goal, you're going to wander. You're going to lose your map. You're not going to know where you're going or when you get there. Failure is not an event. You just don't end up at the end of the year not achieving your goal. No. Failure is a mindset. It's what have you done from the beginning on to prepare yourself to reach that goal. Measure your cold calls. Measure your prospects. Measure your closing. You need to know, if I have 10 prospects, I'm going to make 1 sale. If I make 2 sales. Whatever your numbers are, You need to understand those. And then you need to go back to your goal, adjust your plan so that you can come up and put yourself in the situation where if you need to sell 30 people a year, then you're going to need 300 good prospects. And I'll differentiate prospects from suspects. Suspects are just businesses and people that you think may need your product.
Suspects. I don't think I've ever heard called suspects. I like that.
Yeah.
Just you're warm and you're cold.
Yeah, you're warm and you're cold. Your suspects are, you can go online and Google a company and everybody that comes up is a suspect. But a prospect you have identified as they have a need that you can satisfy. And so you have to move them from the fact that they realize that you realize they have a need and can satisfy that need to the point where they realize they have that need and you can satisfy that need. That's really where the sales process comes in. And it's all about serving the client.
Right. And serving yourself. So like you were saying, you don't just roll out of bed at 9 o'clock and leave at 4 o'clock. That it really is about showing up for yourself in those small moments. So it's not necessarily about, okay, I want to make $40,000 a month goal. It's I want to be that person that makes $40,000 a month goal. And what does that person do that makes $40,000 a month? And I think this is really where I have an interesting upbringing in childhood, because I know the 7 habits of highly effective people and for success, and I've had all the Tony Robbins tapes. So, I mean, I was constantly getting fed knowing this, but still implementing it. I mean, still getting up and the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock. And I think Oscar said last week, if y'all heard this, that his friend, the alarm goes off and she counts backwards from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2. And I've implemented that. I love it. I'm like, blast off.
Yeah, it's, a key aspect of this is, of course, writing your goal down, being able to measure it, but every day you need to measure where you are in relationship to accomplishing your goal. Measure, 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 measure.
And this is something, and we had this conversation just the other day, honestly. You guys, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a coach, it's priceless as far as setting goals and being accountable. Had I not stepped out of my comfort zone and hired my coach, I have skyrocketed this year, even in a pandemic. It's just having that accountability for me has been priceless and monumental to achieving some of those goals, and even the ones that I don't want to.
It's that's really important, because you need to have people that you associate with that support your goal. In these times with COVID, things have changed. We're not face to face as much as we used to be. It's really easy to sit around the house in your pajamas and make phone calls and think you're working. Find somebody that thinks like you want to be, who is what you want to become. Spend as much time with that person as you can. Find out what they do. Go to lunch with them once a week or twice a week. Some people call it an accountability partner. But share your dream with someone that will hold you accountable to it. If they get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and they say, I want you to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for the next 30 days, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for the next 30 days, even if all you're doing is fixing yourself a cup of coffee. You're ingraining a habit. You're developing a habit. And you're changing the status quo in order to achieve what you want to achieve as your long-term goal.
And it's a muscle. I love that I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were talking about what is a belief and what is success and what is it's just a cluster of neurons. I mean, when you really break it down, a goal and achieving that is a belief that you can or can't, and the more you believe that you can and support yourself that you can, I like to call it habit stacking. So the more that I'm following through on those promises to myself, the more I'm setting a game plan for the day and not getting lost in that. And that's, you and I had talked about that. You said set for every 30 minutes. Like, man, that's daunting to set a calendar for every 30 minutes. But even just in that day, looking back at it, it was like, okay, well, there's 15 minutes there. And even just getting lost in redirection in between tasks. And like you're saying, most of us are working from home. I am not in my pajamas, just so you know. I'm like, that is part of that's a hard line of mine is, yes, I have to put on real clothes and a face so that I feel productive. But it's those little things that are going to get us to that $40,000 a month goal that we have. Or what did you say? Not goal, but results.
Yeah, results you want. It's goes back to the very basics. Success is just built on, like what you say, habit stacking. It's built on a stack of basics to achieve a goal. As an example, Harvard Business School did a survey of graduating business students. This is Harvard. This is not just any old school. And they found that the students who wrote their goal down, 88% achieved that goal. 88%. But the really amazing thing is that only 20% of that graduating class had written their goals down. So you're looking at 88% of only 20%. The people that didn't write their goals down had good jobs, but they weren't exceptional in any way. So it's so important that you write it down. Put it on your refrigerator. Write it, make it the landing page on your cell phone. Just keep it right in front of you where you can't forget what it is and why you're there.
And I think
that is so important.
It is so important. And I know, especially when you're setting those new big goals and you're achieving new things, literally, it's like waking up without a program. Like, I have to wake up. I have a journal, so I journaled the night before, and I write 3 things that I'm starting my morning with just to kickstart that action, because I haven't done it before. So it's not like I'm going to wake up and be like, oh, it's a new day, I'm doing this, and this. No, I literally have a notebook by my bed. Okay, I'm waking up. These are the habits that I am implementing. This is my morning routine. Boom, boom, boom. And by my bed. And, you know, I'm like, I have every mirror in my home is written on.
Yeah, that's so important, because if you wake up in the morning and you find yourself not knowing what you're going to do for the day, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yes. Well, and lost time. And then you get into that perpetual spiral of, I know I should be doing something. What am I supposed to be doing? Okay, I'll just make a cup of coffee. And then before you know it, it's 10, 11 o'clock and you haven't gotten into that day. So that's not showing up as that $40,000 a month person. You know, that $40,000 a month person. I like to say, show up and, like, I wake up today and my goal is to be the best version of my future self.
if you sit down and talk with successful entrepreneurs, business owners, etc., they're constantly working. Even if they're out on the golf course, their mind is always, your mind's a wonderful thing. You can concentrate on so many things so quickly. It seems like you're wandering, but you're not. You can literally only think of one thing at a time. I don't know whether y'all realize that or not, but you can think about one thing at a time so fast that your mind is just racing constantly. So when it comes to a plan and a goal, the hardest part of it is just do it.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And your feet hit the floor.
Yes, and that is so true. It never gets easy. It doesn't. I mean, I know on this journey and during COVID that you've definitely talked me off a couple of ledges, because it's scary. It's scary going out and doing something that you don't want to do. This is another that I do personally, is I get the hard stuff out of the way first. So for me, I know, believe it or not, it's really hard to pick up the phone and talk to people. But I have it set up. So my hard stuff is done in the morning. I get up, I have my morning routine. I'm ready to work. I'm at my desk. And for me, phone calls. So I'm making those 10 phone calls. I'm setting those appointments. I'm not leaving it to happen chance and haphazard. How do I get to that? I mean, how do you figure out, I guess, kind of what your hard stuff is and what you do need to do first?
Well, the thing you do first is the one thing that you don't want to do.
Right. I guess it's different for everybody. With me, it's calls.
It's different for everyone.
Maybe that's why I was a good 5:30 a.m. workout person too.
A lot of salespeople have trouble cold calling. Get on the phone or even in person. When I first started in cold calling, was knocking on a door or walking in a door, not knowing what was on the other side. And so many people, and myself included at some points in time, will stand outside that door and talk to themselves, and you're either going to talk yourself into going or you're going to talk yourself out of going.
Yes. And like you were saying, our minds are a crazy, I mean, I can be in Jamaica and just like that and live in the dream in my brain.
That's right. That's right. And the difference between, and this is something that you've probably heard a million times in your life, the difference between success and not being successful is that successful people do what unsuccessful people don't. Right.
Yeah, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. When I was your age, we used to say if it was easy, women and children can do it. But you can't say that anymore.
No, because we'll kick your ass at it nowadays.
That's right.
Not for saying it, but yeah, we'll leave you in the dirt nowadays.
Things change. People don't, even nowadays, they don't talk on the phone as much as they used to, sales-wise, cold calling. Because with COVID and all of 2000, the 21st century sales cycle has changed. And we need to change with it. Our goals don't need to change. And really what we do doesn't change. What is changing is how we do it. We're not sitting across the desk from someone anymore as often as we used to. What we're doing is just, it's on the phone, sometimes even by email. You need to learn to write. It just amazes me is how many young salespeople can't write.
I don't think that that we even read anymore. So we're not absorbing what we read so that we can turn around and be eloquent in our communications.
Well, reading is critical. Elon Musk reads 3 books a week. All successful people read.
Yes.
And they read a lot. And it's not always technical journals. Self-motivation, technical journals. Even reading a well-written mystery novel, you'll learn sentence structure, paragraph structure, how to take an idea, put it into words so that the other person can understand what you're saying. And it just takes practice.
That it does. And I think that's what so many of us don't understand, is that it really does take practice. It takes repetition. It takes building those neurons and those synapses in our brains, and they have to wire so many times so that we get that. So on that note, we are going to wrap up with this segment, and we will be right back. You are listening to The Edgy Entrepreneur on the Edge Network, and we'll be back in a moment. Hi, and welcome back, my edgy entrepreneurs. We are just going to wrap up real fast here with Carl Colmenares, who was our special guest today. Where can they find you, Carl?
They can get in touch with me on my website. It's Kingwood Business Solutions.
And is that kingwoodbusinesssolutions.com?
kingwoodbusinesssolutions.com.
All right. And if you've enjoyed this conversation and found value in the topics, please join my private Facebook group, Mind Your Business Talk, and we'll keep the conversation going. Also, if you're an edgy entrepreneur who's been hiding, playing small, stuck in shame because you don't fit into everyone else's mold, and you're ready to own your inner badass and make shit happen, go to my website, JennColmenares.com, and book a call, or you can comment below under the hashtag READY in the comments, and I will be in touch. Thank you so much. Until next Thursday at 10 a.m., go out and be the change this world needs.